warning. Stone cold like a Steve Austin. He jacking, I'm putting rappers in these coffins. He's acting like he got it, but he's lost it. Keep attacking these slackers that want to feed off me.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Now, let's start the clock, see how long it takes me to get to Impact Wrestling. Alright, so Moose complained to Scott D'Amore about getting jobbed out by Kenny Omega and the boys. Scott D'Amore claimed that Anthem was going to send someone to settle the score and figure out what's going on. Later, we ended up talking to Don Callis, and Don Callis said he has no sympathy for the talent and that he had to make the hard decision. And that, him and Scott D'Amore had been secretly having conversations about firing Sami Callihan anyway, but Scott D'Amore has too much empathy and therefore didn't have the nerve to fire him. I think Anthem will send somebody to thank him for firing Sami Callihan because he's a loose cannon, he's out of control. Loose cannon, out of control, Sami Callihan didn't crash the show, even though he's supposed to be fired. Don Callis then had him taken away by security. Actually, Scott D'Amore talked to him and apologized and said that he's going to get it worked out. That means that Sami Callihan teleported away because, of course, he has teleporting powers. Don Callis then comes out and him and Scott D'Amore get into an argument with him telling Scott D'Amore that, wrestlers are lowlives and they're absolute trash and that they're above them and that they're not wrestlers anymore. They're management. They can't be thinking like wrestlers anymore. And Scott D'Amore never stops thinking about like a wrestler. So then Anthem's new heavy, their new voice shows up, and it's Tommy Dreamer. And Tommy Dreamer shows up, and everybody's mad because Tommy Dreamer first tried to talk to Scott D'Amore, and Scott D'Amore wouldn't listen. So they tease very poorly that Scott D'Amore is going to get fired. But of course, they turn the tables, and it's Don Callis who gets fired as an EVP. And then Don Callis yells about Tommy Dreamer being a stooge for Bruce Pritchard, which is like one of the 4 WWE mentions on this episode. The second one came when he yelled that there's a trash bag waiting for Don Callis in the back when he gets there. As soon as he comes marching through the door, Sami Callihan promises to destroy and beat up Kenny Omega at the pay-per-view because now Don Callis doesn't have any power anymore. Of course, this is playing off of the fact that Don Callis actually did leave the executive vice president position at Impact earlier this year. I think it may be earlier this month of June. So this really should change his ability to, of course, utilize his power to get Kenny Omega favorable positions and stuff like that. It ought to be interesting. But Sami Callihan versus Kenny Omega, the dream match, is back on. I'm guessing they're going to throw some kind of gimmick at it. The first match was a big oof because TJP defeated Black Taurus with the Mamba Splash. It sucked. Moose attacked the TJP after the match and demanded to speak to Scott D'Amore. He wouldn't get that conversation because Chris Sabin jumped up and beat him up and he ran off. Yes, that Chris Sabin. 4'8" Chris Sabin. Later, Chris Sabin said that Moose can't just hijack the show and that he was sent by the real wrestling guy to humble Moose and that he's going to see him at Slammiversary. And I thought, like, wow, Moose fell off a cliff. He went from wrestling Kenny Omega to now wrestling Chris Sabin with no hint of a rematch. Wow. They did these really cool, this is what I do like about Impact, is they do these things where 2 people are talking and the camera is almost like eavesdropping, like it's like looking over the corner. I really like that because it seems like, they're not having these conversations right in front of the camera, that the camera is picking up things they're not supposed to see, But it's Ace Austin and Rohit Raju coming together and creating forming an alliance and for Ultimate X. Because instead of having a King of the Mountain match, which I thought they were going to have, they're going to have an Ultimate X. Whatever. Second match, Madman Fulton defeated by Josh Alexander. Madman Fulton takes 1 step forward and 3 steps back, as usual. He looked cool in destroying all the cruiserweights at the pay-per-view, so of course he loses to one of the cruiserweights in a one-on-one match by a pile driver. Ace Austin was attacked Josh Alexander after the match, which led Petey Williams to come out there. Then Rohit jumped in, and then more guys came in and ended up with Shira. Well, Shira came in, and Trey Miguel, and everybody jumped in. At the end of everything, Shira was standing tall, and everybody else was laying around on the ground. Like Josh Alexander, Madman Fulton is just a job guy. I have no idea why he's still there. Deonna Purrazzo decides to kick Susan and Kimberly to the curb because they lose too much and they don't deserve to sit next to her. Susan then calls her a typical degenerate millennial, which I thought was hilarious. But now it just means that we have probably going to bring back Su Yung for Deonna to fight, because she's probably going to beat Kimberly up on TV or something. Morrissey cuts a promo, basically says that nobody has friends and people are going to stab you in the back, because he's talked about Kojima and TJP and a bunch of other guys who got friends in the business who didn't win their matches. And he's basically becoming a broken record now. Steve Maclin made a debut. He defeated some guy named Justin Page, who was a job guy. Beat him with a version of the curtain call, the original curtain call, Goldust's first finisher. He kind of did it on the ground. Well, he kind of did a sitting version of the curtain call. He also has a t-shirt, which I'm like, damn, that's fast. He has a t-shirt already. Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering had a conversation backstage that was the camera eavesdropped on. Rachel wants Jordan to be in her corner for the match. Jordan is upset because everybody thinks, including, well, mostly everybody being Tenille Dashwood, thinks that she only won the tag team titles because of Rachel. And Rachel says, no, that's only Tenille. Only Tenille thinks that. And she says, well, you only think Tenille thinks that because that's the only person you talk to. Tenille Dashwood didn't defeat Rachel Ellering because Caleb Buddy K cheated. TJP and Fallah Bahh went to Scott D'Amore to complain about all the fighting that took place earlier. Decay ended up approaching them, mad that they lost earlier, and then says that, hey, we got some unfinished business. They agreed to tag team match later. Fire and Flavor decided they was going to go around and badger randos, like guys who carry mops and push empty garbage bins, who was the best tag team in Impact, who was the best Knockouts tag team champions of all time. These two guys were just regular schlubs. Nobody knew who they were. They ended up running into Havoc and Rosemary, who then intimidated them, beat them up, and then threw Kiera Hogan in a trash can, which, of course, she found a trash bag with Mickie James' name on it. They used the joke twice. They used it twice. They used the trash bag joke twice. I mean, just get it out while you can, I guess. The main event of the show was Rhino losing to Kojima with a running lariat, which led to a tag team match that will take place for the tag team championships. Eddie Edwards and Satoshi Kojima versus Rhino and some member of the Violent by Design. So that was the entirety of Impact. The show was blah. Don Callis getting fired was the main event. I don't understand why. No match was really any good. We're not building it to anything that I care about. It's the same people fighting all over again. Deonna Purrazzo still doesn't have a credible opponent. I don't know why they would beat Rachel Ellering. It makes no sense. She could have been the opponent for Deonna Purrazzo. I'm guessing they're probably going to pull a surprise, and it's probably going to end up being Su Yung. The main event scene is a mess. Who cares about the Warthog? He sucks. Moose has fallen off of a cliff. Now he's got to wrestle Chris Sabin, who, let's be honest, shouldn't even be in that position. He never deserved to be in the main event in the first place. It's a joke. So that's Impact Wrestling for June the 17th, 2021. Thank you guys for listening. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.